In this short tutorial, I'll be taking you on how to have a perfect pencil skirt. Understanding pencil skirt goes a long way to help you. Let me say, if you understand how to draft, sew, and cut a perfect pencil skirt, you're going to be able to do a lot of things because it's like a guideline. It's like it teaches you how to navigate through so many styles. You can manipulate your pencil sketch to get a lot of designs. Pencil sketch is not just pencil sketch, it's the basic, it's the foundation of so many designs in fashion design, in dresses and skirt making and all that. So let's start. First of all, you need to have an accurate measurement. You need to know the perfect measurement, the perfect waist measurement, the perfect hip measurement, and the perfect length you're looking for in the skirt you're making. When you're measuring your clients, if you have watched my tutorial on measuring before, ensure your tip rule is good, in good condition, and make sure you are measuring them and they're wearing the right outfit. They're not wearing something too big that'll make your design look funny. And also, anytime you're doing fittings, remember that during the fittings is when you know if this skirt fits or not. A lot of things to be considered, but let's get to business. Okay, let's draft our pattern. Are you ready? Because I am. So depending on your client, the first thing is the length of the skirt. And remember, this is a pattern. So when you're cutting, remember it's if it's the front, it's going to be unfold. So one of the things you can do for yourself is you can write so you remember, don't waste your patterns. You can write fold here or CF. CF means center fold also. So you remember that when you're cutting this pattern for the front, you're going to have the fabric folded into two. And anytime you're folding your fabric, don't waste too much fabric. Fold based on what you need. That's another class. Don't let that take our time. So the length of the skirt, I'm going to be using inches in this tutorial, not centimeters. I'm going to take 20 as our length. So the first thing, mark the length of your skirt. 20. Then I'm going to use, if you're going to turn it in with a lining, you can use 1 inch, you can use 1.5, you can use 2. I'll try to remember to tell you the technique of when you're turning in and how you're going to cut the lining if you're going to use full lining. If you're going to use half lining, like your skirt can be here and your lining will be here, it doesn't matter. You can use anything like 1.5. So like when you overlock the hem, then you turn it in, or you turn it in twice. Like you fold ½ inch first, then you turn it the other way. So I'm going to be using 2 inches as the hem allowance here. I'll be using 2 inches as the hem allowance. So I have my 22 on both sides. I hope you see that. I like having defined lines. There's no, I cannot overemphasize this. I like having defined lines. Don't just walk randomly. Let your lines be well mapped out. Okay. So that's the length of our skirt. Then this is the upper part of our skirt. The next thing is to have the hip point. I'm going to be using, for this person, I'll use 7.5 as a hip point. You should know how to do that with the video and measurement tutorial. Then this is a short skirt, the tapered skirt. So that's it. Then I'm going to be using the waist 28. So I have 7 divided by 4, 7. I have the dart, which is 1 inch. And the sewing allowance should be 1 inch. But if you're lining, you use 1.5. So just add ½ inch to it. If you're doing full lining, so you use the half to sew. The way I do my lining is I sew the lining first because of amendment, basically because we amend a lot for African women. So you sew the lining first, then you use the remaining 1 inch to join. And why I have 1 inch, 1 inch is not a professional allowance. If you're sewing professionally, it shouldn't be more than ½ inch seam allowance actually, so that by the time the person wears doesn't seem bulky. But because it's an African tailor, women amend a lot. So the 1 inch here is to save you a lot of troubles when you want to do amendment. They want to take it in, to take it out. But if it's a ready to wear, do not use this allowance. It's too much. 1 inch is fine. ½ inch to sew the lining and ½ inch to finish. So I use 28 here, and I'm going to be using the hip. I'll use the hip. Let me see. I'll use 36. So I have 9. I have 9. Then I have 1.5. Because I use 1.5 there, I will have 1.5 here because I want to line the skirt. If I don't want to line, remember it's 1 inch. Now, how much pencil skirt do I have? Some people will say you remove what you have here from here, then taper it as that's fine. Some people will say let your client stand, measure their feet together. I don't know. I don't do that really because I don't think it works all the time because your clients may be small and have big legs. So if that happens, how do you blend it in? So what you do is usually for like a common pencil skirt, take it in 1 inch here, 1.5, 2. If the material is stretchy, actually you can take 2.5 off. So from whatever you have here, which is 9, let's take 1.5 out. So we have 7.5 left. We want this to be really penciled. 7.5 is what I have. Then my sewing allowance is constant. Whatever you use from the beginning is what you use till the end. So connect your lines together here to here. If you have a hip curve is the best, is your best friend here. It gives you that curve you're looking for. You see? Perfect. So buy your tools, have as many rulers as you can have. It just saves you the stress of having to draw this. Imagine if you use this ruler. You see what you're gonna have? You're gonna have this looking like them. To curve may not be like what you need. Your hip curve can be used to like extend, just use it to draw whatever you want to draw, then have that curve perfectly. Now that's your front, the front of your skirt. This already looks tapered. Looks like when I where it's gonna be fitted. Sometimes you see your clients wear the skirt because they have big hips. This will still be gaping. Take it in again. That's one of the methods. Another method is using the back to tape it in. We have this now. Then remember we have 2-inch folding. Thankfully, I remembered. So I almost forgot. So let me just mark this line again. This shouldn't go all the way down. You should jog it out. So let's mark this with, or use another color to get this done. So this can be clear. This is the usual length of our skirts. Now, this is the down part. So what you're supposed to do is this should not come this way. This should actually go out a little. Although the best professional way is to fold this up to here before you cut. Let me cut it so that you get what I'm trying to say. I'm not cutting everything. I'm just trying to explain that to you. So before I cut this, to get this perfect one, I'm going to fold here. I'm going to fold on this line. Then it's time to cut. I folded the hem allowance in, if you observed. And I want to take this out. Can you see what I have? So naturally, this is already out because I folded it in. That is how to get your hem perfectly. So if you want to use lining, yes. If you want to use lining, your lining is going to be from here to like 1/2 inch because you're going to use 1/2 inch to join this to your lining. So you're going to measure what you have here. 18.5, that'll be the length of your lining. So when you're lining, how I line my skirt perfect finishing, this is going to be on full, so you're going to have it opened up. I'll try and make a miniature version on paper. You have it folded, so you sew your lining first here, then you turn it up. You'll have put stay on the band of your skirt, paper stay, soft stay, cloth stay, any kind of stay that fits the fabric you're working with. Then that is for bandless skirts. Actually, if your skirt has band, you don't have to do all this. If your skirt is going to have band, then you will have removed the band measurement before you start measuring all this. I hope that should be clear because you don't have to, you're not going to use all, but this is a bandless. Bandless is the best to amend. When you want to make amendment, bandless is very good to amend. One of the advantages of bandless is you can just stick the sides in easily. The fit is perfect. It gives you like a flatter tummy and all that. You don't have to use hook and eye. I like bandless skirt. Even when I'm making bands, I sew it in a way to make it look bandless. That when you're doing fittings or amendments, it's very easy to get done. Now, this is going to be cut on folds. Do not forget. Let's go to the back. So the back is simple. This is my center back line. So I'm going to call this CB. Your zip allowance, depending on you. If you're going to have side zip, it's going to be the same. Same front, same back. But if you want to have the kind of skirt that when you wear them, the back is very, very well shaped. It feels like pam fitted. When you want to do that, you need to have a center back zip. You can't use side zip for this. It doesn't work. So side zipper is for any kind of skirt you want to do. But if you want those perfectly well-made skirts, we're going to use the back zipper because we're going to taper the back. So the first thing first here is, let me go over this again. If you're making a side zipper, the same way you cut this front is the same way you cut the back. No zip allowance again. This allowance here is what we use for the zipper. It's easy to cut. It doesn't consume your fabric. It actually gives you room to maximize your fabric. But if you want it to be well dead fitted, maybe you want to convert this pattern to a dress or into a longer skirt, into a mermaid skirt, god skirt, I'll advise you use the center back zip so you can taper the back. First of all, okay, the zipper allowance. Usually I do 2 inches. I like keeping allowances on my skirt. I think I've sewn too much for Africans and I've done too many amendments, so I've learned a lot of lessons. That's why I always I keep allowances everywhere. And sometimes you send clothes to people and all they say is, oh, that cloth does not fit well, da 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 da. But once I have my allowances, and I'll tell you there's no way my clothes cannot fit you because I kept enough allowances inside and it can definitely be amended. You can use less than 2 inches, don't forget. So just place this right on this fold. This is going to be the CB zip, and sorry, this is going to be the CB. It's going to be center back. This is zip extension. So place this here, like well aligned. Okay, this side is the same. I'm not going to cut this. Everything here remains the same. To cut this pattern, everything here remains the same. We're going to work more on this. Before I work on that, let me talk about the dart placement. Every individual has different dart placement. Try to watch the measurement video again. I'll drop the link on this if you haven't watched to know how to take the dart placement and all that. So your dart placement for this person, I'm going to use 3.5. So you're going to mark it. So remember where your darts are. If it's 3.5 in the middle, that means half inch here, half inch here. That's the middle. If it's 4, that means half inch here, half inch here. And what I do is you notch that so that you don't forget. Sometimes people make mistakes, beginners especially, they turn the skirt upside down. But this notch allows you to know that this is the upper part of my skirt. Okay, we have this here perfectly well laid together. Now let's taper the back from the hip point. This is the hip point, right? You mark it, that point here. That's the bum point, the biggest part. Then from this part of the zipper, you can take it in 1 inch or half inch. Let's do 1 inch. Let me try and roll this line to give us a straight line. Yes. So I know where we're working to and from. From the zip extension, you take 1 inch off. It depends on how much you want it to go in. 1 inch off. You can always take half inch off if the person doesn't have that much of backside. And what do you do? From here, we're going to taper it down there. So it's going to look like this. Oh my, sorry, I made a mistake. Well, it's normal. It should be here, not on the hemline. So you don't make the mistake, please. Yeah, it should be here. So your 1 inch should be here because that place is our hem extension. If it's a mermaid skirt, we don't have to bother about all that because we won't even be adding the hem allowance if it's like a long skirt. If you are building a pattern for a long skirt, so this from here goes to here. Yeah, voila. By the time you cut this, so this looks like this, all this part is going to be cut out. Then this part, you can't really keep it straight. So it's better you cut when you fold. It's gonna look like this, it's like jogged out a little bit. But remember how we cut this? When you fold this hemline up, you'll be able to get this perfect because it's be aligned with this one. And if it's a skirt you're sticking to adapt the pattern, you do not need the hemline. Do not forget this for basic pencil skirt. This is going to be shaped. When you're done with this skirt, you're going to have it looking well shaped, well fitted. This is it. Don't forget your darts. Don't forget your zipper. You can use two, you can use 1.5, you can use 1 inch, anything you want. I just use two in case you have mistakes or measurements, you can always amend. When you're sewing, iron very well. If it's a bandless skirt, use stay, iron, perfect ironing. When you hem it in, iron very well. Ensure there is no air. It doesn't bubble up, that everything lays flat. And if you're going to use the usual band, take the measurement of the band off from here. You can join your band one by one as well. You can join your band like one band to the front, one band to the back, and join on the sides or back zipper, whatever you want. Have fun while you're making your pencil skirt. Bring innovations, ideas. You can divide your pencil skirt into different things. Use one fabric here, one fabric here. Be very creative. Don't stick to simple things. Simple things get you lazy. Task yourself whenever you're sewing. I mean, you can use bias, insert bias in the middle, different colors, or use fabric to make bias to design your skirt. Skirt shouldn't just be left plain like that. Be creative with it and have fun. If you have questions, drop them for me or send them to me on WhatsApp. I will be willing to teach you and assist you more. Cheers, all the best.